right. Thank you guys for being here.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Rich, why you show up empty-handed, man? You didn't get me anything?
Get you?
Yeah. Today's National Bosses Day.
Oh, you think this guy thinks he's Tony Danza? This guy thinks he's the boss.
Ayo. Oh, hey. Ayo. Yeah, man. Running it here on Fox Sports Radio. I'm Covino. That is Rich. I'm just joking. But it is National Bosses Day, so shout out to our bosses that make this possible. But shout out to Danny G. He's our super producer. Getting ready. Iowa Sam, Spotty Boy, we're streaming live. Covino and Rich FSR on YouTube. And we be rocking out. Let's go.
Today is going to be a fun one. We're going to talk about old guys in sports. We're going to talk about Shohei Ohtani. We're going to talk about
the postseason flop?
Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, but I mean, it's almost like if your buddies do the class project, you still get the A+, right?
No, that's true, and there's more to that than meets the eye. It's a bit of a reminder when we talk Shohei later on. It's like, yeah, remember that happened?
And what is undeniably the greatest movie of all time? Because I have an answer, and someone celebrates a birthday today. We'll get to that. But, Cove, as you watch the baseball playoffs, as we do it live from the Fox Sports Radio studio, and a reminder, if you miss anything, Danny G, it means so much that he does extra effort to put together a hell of a best of every day. You could stream that wherever you get your pods. But last night you're watching some baseball.
Baseball.
Like,
Baseball.
oh, look at the Blue Jays. And your pudgy little pal, Kirk, hitting bombs. This Blue Jays team looks like they're in fuego. And I'm like, wait a minute, in Seattle? The road teams are now 5-0 in the ALCS and NLCS. And you got to ask yourself, like, what does that even mean? Like, how is it? You can't say that it's home teams pressing that much, or could you?
No, I think that's exactly what it is.
Really, to
yeah,
that
I
level,
think it's
though.
a home field disadvantage. That's the only thing I can come up with, because I would see it when the Yankees were in the postseason. Remember that?
Yeah, I do.
I felt like they were gripping the bat a little tighter. I know the fans are there cheering them on, but that just adds to the pressure. And I know they're professionals, but they're also really young men trying to do their best. And when you're trying too hard sometimes, that's when you're not playing at your best.
Yeah. I hit up my buddy Elias from the Sports Bureau.
Yeah.
But I think he's on vacation in a cenote in Mexico somewhere.
I mean, what else could it be?
But I do wonder if in baseball history, how far have we gone into this level, this tier of the playoffs where the home team is winless? Meaning, I can only imagine if the Brewers win at Dodger Stadium tonight. And I mean, I know there's 2 games today, but even then, if it's 6-0, 7-0 possibly today, if the road teams keep winning, there's got to be something about that that's never been done.
Yeah, it seems like a switch went off. All of a sudden, the Blue Jays bats are alive again. Vladdy Guerrero remembered how to hit. And, yeah, I really do think it's just a matter of that extra pressure on the biggest scale possible, on the highest level possible. It's like that kid who does really well, and then when his parents show up at the Little League game, that's when he strikes out because he knows they're watching. And it's that little added pressure that you try to ignore, but is always there.
Now, just to be real here and keep it real, I'm looking at this year's baseball standings.
I just think expectations are so high, and fans nowadays, you know, especially in New York, I keep going back to my Yankees because I wish they were in the postseason. If you're not producing and if you're not winning, you're losing and you're getting booed. And I think these teams so desperately want to win for their cities, especially teams like the Brewers, teams like the Mariners. That the pressure starts to add up because it means so much to the fans. They've never won before. They're excited to be there. You know, they're gripping that bat tight, and it's definitely subconsciously affecting them to a disadvantage. It's not home field advantage. It's home field disadvantage. At least it's been so far.
All right, 30 teams in baseball. Now, we love to talk macros and micros.
Mm-hmm.
Our video guy Spot loves to talk about his macros when he eats and at the gym. That'll put you to sleep.
I will.
Well, you need your proteins and your carbohydrates. I'm talking about the macro look at the season versus the micro look. We're talking about a 5 or 7 game series. It's hard to really say that is played in the same way as you look at a 162 game season.
No.
But would you
completely
believe
different.
Of 30 teams, 3 teams had a better road record And it goes exactly with what you're saying. Let me explain. All the teams that perform better on the road have no fans. The A's, the Marlins, and the Washington Nationals. These are bottom feeders, meaning there's no pressure from the home crowd because they stink. So when you look at the A's, who don't even have a home really, the Marlins, who you go to a Marlins game, if they're playing the Mets or Phillies or a division rival, the Braves, that more than half that stadium is opposing fans.
Can I give you
and the Nationals
real-life analogy?
And the Nationals stink this year as well. So I think over the long season, home field advantage is a thing. Probably also because you're sleeping in your own bed.
Yeah.
And you're home and you're comfy and cozy. But the reality is it's funny that
in these moments,
the teams that did better on the road were all bad teams.
I think it just reminds the players of how big this moment is. Everyone's on their feet. They have to come through. Everything matters. We're all under a microscope in this moment. And in real life, I think, let's say relationships. You ever been in a relationship when things are easy breezy and you're just grooving, everything's going good and the relationship's easy. You're not trying hard to please anybody. You ever try to save a relationship and then you start trying extra hard and everything goes wrong? It seems like the more you try and the more you push, the more you fall on your face. And that's what happens in the batter's box. That's what happens at these games. And that's the analogy of playing loose, right? Playing loose is how you win. And if you're able to slow down those clutch moments, that's when you're able to step up. It's the theory that Jazz Chisholm tries to explain. It didn't work for him, obviously, in the postseason. But he says the secret to his success this year was playing 70%. Because when you're trying to play 100% and you're really trying to give it your all, you're really tripping over your own feet because you're trying too hard. So if you're playing loose and you're playing at 70% and you're not feeling that pressure and you got no worries, that's when you really are at your best.
I like to use the term loosey-goosey.
Loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
No, but you ever been there in a relationship, Rich, where the harder you try, let's say you're trying to win a girl's heart back, and everything you do, the universe feels like it's working against you?
It backfires.
It's because you're trying too hard. It's unnatural at that point.
In 2023, the road team won 11 times. That was the Texas Rangers setting a record. And then in 2019, the World Series there, the road team won every game.
I do remember that. I remember that clearly being like, wow, it is – no one can get the job done at home. So I think in the micro, we talk about this.
In the postseason.
Not your favorite dirty jobs guy, not Mike Rowe. In the micro.
Shout out to Mike Rowe, though. He's a good dude.
I think we talked about sabermetrics and analytics. That all goes away in a short series. You can rely on that over a 162-game schedule to work. But in a small sample, you got to go with your gut. And I think over the long haul, sleeping in your own bed, being around your family, playing in front of the home crowd will obviously be an advantage. But I think in a series where high stakes and high pressure, maybe it's not as shocking that these teams are falling flat at home. Let me ask you a question. Of course, this is a typical Covino and Rich question. When you were a single man, did you perform better at home or on the road, if you know what I mean?
Ooh.
If the girl said, come back to my place, or you said, no, come over to my place, where do you feel like you had your...
You're talking about cooking, right? Your kitchen or hers.
Yeah. Okay.
I actually enjoy cooking in their kitchen because I could always leave when I wanted to.
Stop it.
Yeah.
But where do you think you've had your...
Later!
You left the messy dishes for her.
I left the dishes in the sink.
Where do you think you've had your, quote, best performances? At home or on the road? Like, if you had a fun, random fling with a girl, if you said, hey, come over to my place, would there be more pressure? She's coming over my place. I got to make sure it's neat and everything.
I think it was more fun on the road unless they had cats or something. Right? Then they'd be all in the way. Like, what's going on here? How many cats do you have? This is weird.
More than 3. She's crazy. Is
Yeah.
that the rule?
You ever go to a place and there's like, it's like a big mess too? You're like, what kind of person are you?
Not 4.
Not 5. Not 6.
So, yeah, I think I was a on-the-road performer myself, Rich. So
See?
I think that's really what it is, except here's what's hard to believe. It's hard to believe for us because you're like, they're professionals. So you assume that they're oblivious to this.
And baseball is
But
also
there's
different.
so much pressure, but especially for the teams that never won. I really feel like the Dodgers do have less pressure. They won. They're the Dodgers.
Yeah.
They have superstars. They know that if one superstar doesn't step up, someone in that lineup is going to step up.
You're saying like Blue Jays and Mariners fans.
The Blue Jays, the Mariners, like they got to do it.
The fan bases are so thirsty and the players know it.
Yes.
You know, I think of Dan Byers' Seahawks when I think of the last time maybe a home field advantage meant that much. Because home field advantage.
Brewers, Mariners.
Listen, over our lifetime, football, baseball, basketball, there have been significant, like, home field for that team means a lot. The last one that to me was almost impossible was a time in the 2010s when if you went to Seattle, 12th man, Legion of Boom, was that, Dan Byer, would you agree the last time a home field meant that much?
Yeah, darn near close, because I can't think of another one that comes to mind.
Lambeau in the 90s, maybe late 90s, early 2000s?
No, I mean, Packer fans are great, and there's many of them. But an actual home field advantage of affecting the game, I don't think Lambeau Field is it. But when you went to Lumen Field, you went to the Kingdome even, that those were the places. Heck, in baseball, going way back, so it wouldn't even be close to the Seahawks. How loud was it to play at the Homer Dome with the Twins and those Homer Hankies in an indoor sort of facility?
You could picture that, right?
Yeah.
You could picture all the waving the towels and everything. Yeah.
And honestly, like as of late, just to go back to the Seahawks, their issue has been they haven't actually been good at home.
They've been bad at home. So
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. It feels like there's not one now. Like for a minute, you were like the Chiefs at Arrowhead. But if you look at the last couple of years and their splits, it's not like anyone's undefeated at home and like, yeah, good luck seeing them in January at home. Like,
and think how we set up these expectations.
like
not
Buffalo
only
just lost at home in a primetime game, and you thought they had those white uniforms at home on a
That was
primetime
bad.
game.
Yeah,
and you're
I
like,
know.
in
That was
Buffalo?
bad. In the new unis, no
yeah,
less.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that added to it. But when you think about the expectations, not only from the fans, those players have even greater expectations. Like they're supposed to win at home instead of just playing the game and doing their best.
Yeah.
We got to win. They're expected to win. It's a home game. And I think all those things subconsciously mess with you, and you get the opposite result.
Remember that playoff game, that wild card game with the Pirates and Reds, and the Pirates shook Johnny Cueto so much.
Johnny Cueto dropped the ball in his mitt and he imploded on the mound.
Yes,
I remember that.
That was in Pittsburgh. That was a decade ago or so. Like, yeah, it's crazy. You don't see it as much anymore.
Oh, that was honestly, DB, great reference, because that was the last time I remember seeing someone visibly shook.
And if you don't know why we're talking about this, you just joined us. The home teams are 0-5 this postseason in the MLB. I don't know if that's a first, but it sounds good to me. I don't remember that being the case. So, again, younger people, crazy atmospheres, desperation to win, expectations to win greater than ever. I think you're seeing a lot of people pressing too hard, and that's why we're here.
I'm trying to find the stat on it, Covino. Maybe Dan Byer knows or Danny J. Wait, hold on.
It's all subconscious too, though, Rich.
I found it.
It's also on the smallest level, the Lookma theory. We call this the Lookma theory, and this goes back to grade school. Seriously, how many times when you were a kid, you're in your driveway and you're just hitting three-point shots, you're hitting circus shots off the roof, on the pavement, into the bucket. You're in the zone. You're just hitting all these ridiculous shots. And then you're like, Ma, watch. And you try to make that same shot again. Brick,
Air ball.
brick, air ball. Wait. And then as soon as she walks away, it's back to the bottom of the net. And it's just the way life works sometimes. And these are younger men with much greater rewards at hand here.
It's just human nature. Was it you, Covino, who said you don't like it when your family was in studio? Or was it Rich? Somebody had family at Sirius XM.
It's not that I don't like it, right? But I do feel their nervous energy on me. Like my mom gets all nervous, and I could feel her being nervous for me, and I don't want that. It's not that I don't want my mom there. It's I know she's nervous for me for some weird reason. So it's like, take your nervous energy out of here. And that's all part of it, man. There's high stakes here. We analyze every little thing. Social media adds to this. They didn't have to deal with that years ago. The social media pressure and the backlash. Don't think these players, especially the young players, don't see it, and their friends see it, and they talk about it. They have to go home with it. It's a whole different level of pressure. It didn't really apply the same way years ago the way it does right now.
Iowa Sam, what's up, buddy?
I actually have exclusive audio of Covino trying to get his mom's attention.
Hey, Ma. Good one.
Ma,
I made it!
Oh.
No. I'll
Look,
do it
Ma,
again.
Look, Ma. And then your mom's like, oh. And then you miss the shot every time. That's what's happening. You're trying to perform at your peak in front of these fans, and it backfires.
Not that LeBron James needs me to hang from his huevos, but I'm going to for a second.
Sure.
What was so remarkable about LeBron and the Cavs beating the Warriors the year they went 73-9, best record in NBA regular season history, was that I had to look it up. I don't know why it took me more than 10 seconds to find it, but that 2015-2016 Golden State Warriors team, 41 home games. What do you think their home record was?
I don't know. Tell me.
39-2.
Oh, wow.
So the fact that in the playoffs, in the NBA Finals, down like they were, for LeBron James to find ways to beat a team in the Bay Area when they were 39-2 the whole season, only 2 times out of 41 games did the Warriors come up short at home that year. And
I think that also explains why some of these teams who have the best records throughout the year end up falling short, because now they're expected to win, and the pressure is greater as a result.
So I'll be honest. I'll pull a Fonzie. I might have been wrong. I might have been wrong because remember I said both series are 2-0 and they're going home. This is over. Dude,
right.
Based on last night, and we'll see what
lesson
happens
here is
tonight.
in the postseason, it doesn't matter as much. If anything, it could be working against them.
And
regular season, yeah.
And you know what?
We
Right
get
now, for the Brew Crew and Danny, I'm not saying I hope this for you because you're a Dodgers guy, but would it shock you if tonight all of a sudden Contreras and Yelich and all these guys, the ball start dropping, they get a little looser, and maybe they win tonight. Maybe it's 2-1. Would that shock you?
No,
They're a
not
team
at
that
all.
won. They're a team that won 96 games this year. It's, they're gonna, something's gonna happen.
Something has
and maybe
to happen.
they're like, all right, now we're just in Southern California. We're away from all the fun of Milwaukee. Oh, pressure's off. Yelich gets to go get a home cooked meal from his mom in Southern California. Maybe this team brings it tonight, and I wouldn't be shocked if Blue Jays tie it up, and I wouldn't be shocked if the Brewers stole one from the Dodgers tonight. And that would be, what, 7-0 from the road teams if that happened?
That would be wild. And it seems so simple to say, but all these teams are there for a reason. So you think any of these teams are going to wilt and just go away quickly? You're wrong.
No,
Yeah,
they're all great teams.
You're right.
For
These
a
aren't
different reason.
These aren't weak-ass teams that are
Nope.
like, oh, I guess we're going to fold. No 96-win team's going to fold. No Blue Jays team who beat out the Yankees for the AL East is going to fold.
And it's not just because it's 0-5 so far. You could visibly see that these teams were pressing at home, and they seem looser on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, Blue Jays, for example, yesterday, 13 runs out of nowhere. They won 13-4 over the Mariners. So if you have any thoughts on it, by all means, are we not making sense to you? Do you still believe in the home field advantage? We do, but in the postseason, it just doesn't seem to be there.
Not the way it was, right?
Yeah, 877-99 on Fox, 877-99 on Fox, at Covino and Rich at Fox Sports Radio.
All right, we'll take your feedback next. We'll talk more baseball later because I know you got a bone to pick with Shohei Ohtani. I mean, you might.
It's less about Shohei. It's more about how we treat him, how people treat him in the media. Is he an untouchable?
So we'll talk a little Shohei. We'll talk NFL as we believe this. Get into Week 7. How crazy is that? So a lot of NFL, some baseball, and we'll talk some movies. We'll throw it back, all on this show. Covino and Rich. Let's go.
when your team is out, I'm not saying do you pull another rooting interest, but if you're a sports fan, you still want to watch or not. Do you pout and I'm not watching, so the season's over for you? Are you really a sports fan if that's your angle here? So rooting's not the word, Rich. It's almost like, do you pull for someone else, or is there a storyline that is automatically the default? Is the storyline the Brewers then because no one expected them to win? They're a young team.
I think there's two ways to go about it. I mean, when your team's out of it, I have friends that at this point say, I'm done watching. And
yeah.
You have
Is
other
that
friends.
The formula?
You have other friends that are like, dude, it's a postseason. What do you mean you're not watching? I think what you do when your team is out of it, you don't jump on a bandwagon. But I think what you do is you step on one. You don't ever claim to be a fan of that team. But right now, as a Mets fan, they failed to make the postseason. They stink. But if I said, you know what, Cal Raleigh's having a magical year. I do like everyone on that team. It's a really likable team. They've never won before. Maybe I'll pull for the Mariners.
Or maybe
you say,
you root for a good pal like Dan Byer and say, hey, man, the Brewers.
Churio, Terang.
But Rich, wouldn't you cheer for your kid's favorite team?
Oh, you
Dodgers?
mean the Dodgers? Yeah.
And by the way, we live in Los Angeles, right? So that's also another angle here. The question is, if your team's out, do you tune out? Is that the only way to do this? Or, as a sports fan, do you say, and let's make it very clear, Rich, you said it, but I want to reiterate, we're not saying all of a sudden you're a fan of that team. Get out of here. That's garbage. That's garbage. Basura. That's trash. But do you now pull for another team? Because that's what you're left with. So, all right, my team couldn't win. Let me be the bigger person, and I'm going to root for my buddy's team.
I've heard.
Hey, I like this team. They really play good ball. They deserve it. Where does your maturity levels go in this case? And that's what I'm trying to figure out today because the Yankees are fresh out of it, and that's what's on my mind. I'm like, well, man, this season's been popping. We've been saying it all season, right, Danny G? Baseball's popping, baseball. Guess what? Our team's out, but it's still popping. Yeah. So now what?
In the pre-show meeting, Rich said it's only popping if my team's still in it.
It's only popping to me, but I'm still watching.
I don't know, man. It's still electric. All the games yesterday, there's an intensity level that we haven't seen in a long time.
Well,
not with my Yankees, of course, but you're seeing some great baseball.
I actually think one of the great things about being a sports fan is watching an event and having a natural reaction to a game that you didn't know that you were cheering for a certain team. You may have no dog in the fight, but if you sit down tonight and watch one of these two games, there may be a team where obviously you're just like, yeah, and I kind of want the Brewers to win. I love that about being a sports fan is you go into a game thinking you don't care, and you come out of it and you're like, why was I rooting for that team the whole time?
Dude, I love that, and that's what I love about fighting, right? Because there's so many times in a preliminary fight or whatever, you're watching two guys you don't really know, but by the middle of that fight, you're pulling for somebody, right? You're like, yeah, I want that guy. And I love that about this thought and about this theory. I'm going to watch these games, and I'm going to figure it out. So I'm thinking it's Brewers. I really am.
Look at him trying to get back in.
How can I root for the Dodgers? How can I root for the Dodgers when they beat the Yankees in the World Series? But then again, I live in L.A. What's the mindset here? But I do love that thought that Dan Byer just shared, and I express that when it comes to fighting. Your heart or your decision comes from this sense of they got this underdog fight that I relate to, and I want to see this guy win. You could feel that way about a team you're not necessarily rooting for, but now you're pulling for. So where do your rooting interests go when your team is out? That's the question. it's really difficult to put your finger on why the home teams are 0-5, but we did our best, and I think it makes sense, to be honest. How else would you explain what you're seeing? I can visually see the extra pressure these home teams are putting on themselves. It's because the postseason is different than the regular season. Higher stakes, more expectations, and we'll take your phone calls on that. 877-99 on Fox.
Well,
Again, Covino and Rich.
Postseason,
live
go
from
season.
the Fox Sports Radio studio. It is go season, which means don't yawn in October, because when you yawn in October, a ghost sticks his junk in your face.
That's exactly what happens. That's
don't get
why.
sleepy.
That's why Teoscar and his wife didn't want to stay at that hotel.
That's right. Thankfully, there hasn't been any boring baseball games.
By the way, if your kids or wife collect those stupid boo buckets at McDonald's, they're doing them again next week. So I don't know. Halloween's here, man. October baseball. We're halfway. We're halfway there, man. Pretty crazy. 2 weeks from tomorrow, Halloween.
Which means this weekend you got to start looking for costumes probably. In fact, we'll get you primed up and ready for that on Overpromised. Our bonus pod premieres today, episode 113. In fact, we'll definitely talk Halloween and some popular costumes to look out for and some sports-related ones too. Overpromised on our YouTube page, Covino and Rich, FSR. We go live right after the show. That's 4 p.m. on the West, 7 p.m. on the East. Again, I'm Steve Covino. That is Rich. We got Danny G, Sam, Spot, and Byer hanging out with us. And let's go to the phone calls real quick.
Let's say hi to Tony, and then I have an NFL thought as we get to Dan Byer. What's up, Tony?
Hey, Tony.
Hey, 2019, like we said, the Nationals won, or the
Rangers
home team won all 7 games. And then 1987 was the first time that the home team won all 7 games. That was in the Homer Dome. And I will just say real quick, and Dan Byer can correct me on this, but I remember 1978 NLCS between the Phillies and the Dodgers. Pitcher for the Dodgers, I think it was Charlie Huff, literally was booed off the mound and could not continue. That's going back a ways.
Yeah. I mean, listen.
Charlie Huff pitched 100 years. So.
I mean, Charlie Huff, what did he retire like last year? Guy looked like he was 112.
I think when he was on the Rangers, he was 115, actually.
He outlived Sister Jean, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, he's still alive, I'm sure.
But look, you had to go way back to the 80s to give us that stat. And that's pre-social media, obviously. I think that's also we have this idea as fans, too, that they're professionals, but they're young men. They're still human, and we know what they're getting paid. And we know how much they're getting paid, and it's ridiculous amounts. So we're quick to boo them and quick to expect greatness when that's not always going to be the case.
What's up, DB?
How would you guys take that? Would you guys take that as like Dan Byer knows his sports, or Dan Byer's old that he may remember what happened in 1978
I
in
took
the
a
World
little
Series?
as both, to be honest.
I was at first I was like,
if it was like Dan Byer might remember, it was 1980 something. When you dip into the 70s, he's now saying, DB might be 50.
For the record, I'm not the oldest person on this show. For the record, I'm not the oldest person on the show.
That grizzled veteran Dan Byer might be able to back me up on this.
I'm just saying. I look at what he was saying, and I think it's the Alonzo Mourning meme of or the girl at the counter like
That's really funny.
So that's how I took that.
Well,
I was by the way, I was 1 in 1978, so I don't remember that World Series.
Well,
but you're a big Charlie Huff fan. I heard, at one.
I was Dan Byer. I was referencing the Woodrow Wilson administration. Do you have any thoughts about when President Taft got stuck in a bathtub? By the way, speaking of Charlie Huff, we had Julianne Huff on our show once, and just randomly we were like, "Yo, grown up, Charlie Huff, any relation?" She's like, "Yeah, he's
my uncle."
He's my uncle.
Something like that.
No
Yeah,
way.
really?
So
Yeah,
Derek
he's the uncle, or he's related to Charlie
and Derek Huff.
Derek and Julianne Huff.
Yeah, we randomly threw that out there, and we're like, "Oh crap, you really are related."
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk a little NFL. We'll go to DB for an update. Yesterday, when we filled in for Dan Patrick, we talked about how everyone from NFL on Fox to USA Today, everyone has decided to put out their power rankings as to where we are, like a third of the way through the NFL season. USA Today has the Bucks and Colts number 1 and 2. Pro Football Talk has the Bucks and Colts at 1 and 2. NFL on Fox has the Bucks at number 1. Colts are on their top 5. And if you want to add to the list, TB12 himself, Tom Brady, decided to chime in. He has the Bucks and Colts at 1 and 2. So I ask you all.
Hold on, though. Hold on. You were right. USA Today, Pro Football Talk all had Bucks and
Tom
Colts
Brady.
1 and 2. But NFL on Fox
Left them off.
Yeah, they didn't even have Colts in the top 5.
Now,
they had the Bucks and Lions at 1 and 2.
Packers, Lions, Rams are Brady's 3-4-5. And if you want to just play stat boy, 3-4-5 for USA Today was Seahawks, Steelers, Lions, Rams, Steelers for Pro Football Talk, Rams, Packers, Bills for NFL on Fox. But they had the Lions at number 2. So Lions seem like someone we could all get behind. Like Lions will be.
You know
there
what it
in
was, though,
January.
Rich? It was all the hype that Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers got this past weekend against your team.
Yeah.
Because everybody's injured, but I think what separated the Buccaneers is that Baker Mayfield still found a way to win with all the other players, despite the injuries.
My question, Covino,
because all of a sudden everyone's swinging from Mayfield.
my question for not only you, Covino, but for everyone in the room and everyone listening, when you think of power rankings, do we interpret that as you genuinely feel like those are the best teams, like in this moment, like you think moving forward they're the best teams?
No,
Like
that's in the moment.
yeah, like I feel like power rankings is such an interesting thing. 'Cause, listen, when I was a kid, I don't know who the first to do it was, but I remember always looking up the power rankings to see where the Niners were. And I'm sure you felt the same about the Raiders and the Seahawks. Like I would always look at the power rankings as a kid with such like
It's a good place
excitement.
to be, though.
Like, ooh,
I mean, it's better to be there than not
do
be
they have
there.
an up arrow or a down arrow? Like power rankings are a thing we put, I don't like weird stock into. But do you genuinely feel like the Bucks and the Colts are the two best teams in football?
In a way, yes.
It's a tricky question because I'm not saying I disagree with you. I'm sort of like, I mean, no way. But then again,
we'll see where the Steelers stand tonight.
The Buccaneers have answered the bell in a couple of really tough situations, including in Seattle, and getting that win against the Seahawks. It's one of the better wins. In fact, Rich, I would even argue that if the 49ers wouldn't have lost to the Buccaneers this past weekend, that there would be an argument for what your Niners have done so far.
Yeah.
Because if you were to win in Tampa, if you were to win in Seattle and do what you did, that there'd be an argument there. But I don't believe in what the Eagles are right now. I think that the Bills have many flaws, and I don't think we can reward a team like the Chiefs. I picked Denver to win the Super Bowl. They're at 4-2, but could have lost to the Jets in London this past weekend. So
the Ravens are not good.
yeah.
Well,
But even the good teams, I'm not a believer. We were ready to crown the Packers the Super Bowl champions after week 2, and now we're like, well, you really couldn't put away a Joe Flacco-led Bengals team this past weekend.
What's funny is Covino and I were joking about the Packers earlier, how they're like the weirdest record because they had the bye week and the tie week. So the Packers are 3-1-1. Like it feels like it doesn't belong
Right? Yeah.
in the rest of the standings. Like other teams, 4-2, 5-1, 1-5. 3-1-1.
Yeah, and the losses to the Browns.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
funky.
It's interesting because the two teams, to wrap this up, the two teams that arguably every outlet is saying are 1-2 are both underdogs this week in the NFL.
Well,
Both
you two
underdogs.
better figure out after Week 7 wraps up next Monday who are the top teams, because you've said, and you extended last year on the radio show, you said by Week 7 we'll tell you who's who in the NFL.
By Week 7. So I have one more week, and you know what? There's two very telling games based on what Dan Byer and I were just discussing. Listen to this.
Get this.
As Tony No Breaks would say.
Get this.
Get this. Very telling game out here in Los Angeles. The Chargers hosting the Colts. Chargers are 1.5-point favorites. If the Colts convincingly beat the Chargers out here in L.A., that's to me, that's a stamp of they are real, like real legit contenders. Now, if they come out here and stumble, I don't think it's the end of the world. It could be an L on the schedule that doesn't destroy the Colts, but if you come out here and beat the Chargers and move to 6-1, how could you deny the Colts, right?
They played well last time they were at SoFi against the Rams.
You can't deny them, and you can't deny the Buccaneers either, because how many people, like the Colin Cowherds of the world too, who used to dump on Baker Mayfield, had to look back and say, you know what, I was wrong about that, because look how great they're playing now. I don't think people were quick to give the Buccaneers or Mayfield any credit, and he's undeniably leading that team, so you have to give him the credit.
Well, then you should love the second part of what I just said, because Monday night, another double doozy for Monday Night Football in a few days from now, the first game, which starts right at the end of our show, 4 p.m. West Coast, 7 o'clock back east, Bucks at Lions.
Ooh.
If that is not the most telling game of the week.
That's so good.
Bucks
yeah.
at Lions, and Lions are 5.5-point favorites.
And again, NFL on Fox, that's their number 1 and 2, Bucks and Lions, according to the power rankings.
So Bucks and Lions, you're going to see, what if Baker goes up to Detroit? And with, again, some bang-ups on that offense, what if they go beat the Lions? That would really make you think, crap, Buccaneers are for real.
Yeah.
The Rich loves to look at the schedule game.
Schedule watching. That's what I do best. All right, let's go to Dan Byer for an update. DB, what's going on, my friend?
I would actually argue, because I love rankings in college football, that you should have them in the NFL. How great would it be to promote 1 versus 2 on Monday Night Football, right?
Yeah.
Like, ultimately, it's meaningless because we have a playoff at the end that's determined by record. But if we actually did incorporate power rankings, how great would it be to see those matchups? Hey, we got a 3 versus 5 matchup.
And you don't think some teams would play with a chip on their shoulder if they're like if you're the Kansas City Chiefs and Andy Reid and Mahomes, you don't think, we're not even ranked, we're not even top 10 ranked? They lose their minds.
The problem, DV, is a network would have to sell 25 versus 28. You'd be like, oh, man.
That only goes to certain parts of Charlotte and then other
Jets,
places.
Panthers, what a matchup.
Yes, right. Just 4 out of the 5 boroughs in New York City. All right, in Los Angeles, Brewers and Dodgers getting underway. Coverage actually already underway on TBS. First pitch just after 6 o'clock Eastern time. It's Game 3 of the NLCS. Dodgers up 2-0. Blue Jays and Mariners play Game 4 of the ALCS. That's on Fox Sports 1. Mariners currently lead the series 2-1 in the best-of-7 matchup. Max Scherzer goes up against Luis Castillo. In other baseball news, Aaron Boone of the Yankees says that outfielder Aaron Judge will not need surgery on his injured elbow. However, Garrett Cole's not expected to be available for opening day, and neither is shortstop Anthony Volpe, who may miss the start of the 2026 season following labrum surgery on his left shoulder. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb is going to play on Sunday against the Commanders, while tonight Week 7 begins with the Steelers and Bengals. Cincinnati not expected to have Trey Hendrickson, as the edge rusher is out because of a neck injury. No practice for Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua today. Buccaneers wide receiver Mike Evans getting back on the practice field, according to the Tampa Bay Times, as he tries to return from a hamstring injury. Kyler Murray limited in practice for the Cardinals. And the big news in college football is Indiana and head coach Curt Cignetti have agreed on a new 8-year contract extension.
I couldn't be more proud to be a Hoosier, and I plan on retiring as a Hoosier. And the way that this state has embraced us and our success in football has meant more to me than anything else.
Average annual salary of $11.6 million, guys. Only Kirby Smart at Georgia and Ohio State's Ryan Day make more on a yearly basis than Curt Cignetti will in his new deal with Indiana. Back to you guys.
Being 6-0 and playing the way you're playing doesn't hurt.
No.
Get you nice things.
Headed to the likely headed to the college football playoff for the second straight year.
It's pretty wild. DB, I had something for you. What was it? Oh, man.
Well, I had something for you, too. I wanted to thank you for that Yankee update, even though I didn't appreciate all the injuries.
There was no good news.
I was actually
Judge
glad
didn't need surgery.
He didn't
there
need surgery. But, what's funny is I saw Aaron Boone at a press conference all throughout the day, and I didn't watch it not once because I assumed it was fake AI nonsense. And that's the world we're living in right now. Like, I didn't realize there actually was real Yankee news until you told me, because I kept ignoring that because I'm like, it's just Aaron Boone, AI nonsense,
right.
And I skipped right past it.
I know what I was going to ask you, DB. Max Scherzer. I know I'm going to describe like a movie plot, but when you're a guy that's had a Hall of Fame career like Max, 2 colored eyes Scherzer, a bulldog on the mound, a guy that pitches with a passion that you could argue is unmatched, right? Like when he's out there, he's a maniac.
He's like the mad Hungarian.
Is there a part of you that thinks he's subconsciously thinking like, all right, I'm at the end now. This is, even though I've had big games, tonight is one of the biggest games of my life. Like,
absolutely.
Like
he's the ultimate competitor.
I'm leaving it all out there tonight. Whatever I have left is on the field tonight. You're getting a start in the ALCS after a career like Max Scherzer has. You got to leave everything you have tonight on that mound.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you guys will agree with me, but it reminds me of 1971 Vita Blue.
Yep.
Dan, remember Bob Gibson in
Nailed it.
'68? All right, and we got more Covino and Rich, and we're gonna go old school next right here on CNR. Hang tight. But yesterday after the show, I went to the gym. 'Cause, hit your mid-40s. Guys just work a little extra hard.
Girls for the girls,
It's my
man.
birthday.
Yeah.
You hit your 40s and you're like, all right, I got, got to work harder. I'm at the gym, and there's only one TV on the Dodgers-Phillies game. And I looked around the gym.
I think one word. Pathetic.
I looked around, Danny J, and I commented on this. I left a video on my Instagram story in disgust because
I saw it.
I looked around and I saw 9 people with Dodger hats or T-shirts on. So let me tell you, L.A. people represent the Dodgers, but you know what they are? They're full of baloney.
No, you can't call them the
Full
LA Dodger
of
fans, though, Rich.
baloney.
A real Dodger fan is not going to be in the middle of 2 miles of cardio.
I know. Someone told me
while
that. Go to Echo Park.
That's-
Go to
I
downtown
told you
L.A.
that. Yeah, I said you go deeper into L.A. and then tell me that they're not going to have the Dodgers game on all the TVs. No, Sherman Oaks. I'm sorry, it's not Los Angeles.
I get
It
it.
is Los
yeah,
Angeles.
but
I
it's-
live in LA.
It's not Dodger Los Angeles.
As transplants,
come on.
we're from the East Coast. It's really disappointing, though, because I experienced that a lot, as Rich did yesterday. It's like, you guys for real right now? How do you not have it on?
Dan Byer, it's wild.
Well, I was going to say, I try to give the license plate frame people the benefit of the doubt when I know that their team is playing at that point. Like maybe this poor guy's at work, and I know he's got the game on the radio though, as he's listening to the Rams as he has his Rams license plate frame.
It dawned on me at the gym when I was doing triceps, a little rope pull down deal, the guy next to me had a Dodgers hat and a Dodgers t-shirt on. And I was like, all right, I'm going to observe this guy because the one TV across the room is the only one with the Dodgers game on. And this guy must have thought I was into him or something because I kept looking at him like, is he going to glance at the TV? This guy is wearing a Dodgers hat and a Dodgers shirt. There's one TV in front of the treadmills on the far side that I kept myself going back to look at just because I'm a sports fan.
Did the treadmills have the little personal TV?
No, they did not.
Okay.
And
Do you think the treadmills we go to have personal TVs? We're lucky if they work.
Full selection
no,
of cable.
We
Rich,
go to the weekends gym until we get that Dan Patrick money.
Yeah, until we get that DP
We know-
money.
We know a lot of passionate Dodger fans, and then obviously
I know.
in every city where you have a winning team, you're going to see like the Patriots. There were a
Bandwagoners.
lot of Patriots scare all throughout Boston and Massachusetts, and not all of those people were riding with the Patriots when they were losing.
I think what
obviously.
Danny G is saying, we're in the San Fernando Valley, and maybe the Valley is a different type of fan.
Maybe, but I'll say this.
They're more into all Valley
There's-
karate.
There's levels of fans, right? There's levels of so many things, right?
That's what it is. yeah.
There's levels of fans, and again, not just fans. Anything you talk about, there's going to be levels of. There's some people that are music fans, and then there's no. There's music fans that know cuts of albums and singers of groups, and other people I don't know who's in that band.
They're wearing the T-shirt of the band.
And
They couldn't name you a single song.
Weak. They might be a fan of a band, and you're like, they might not know the album names, but they know a couple songs they like. I just know me and how I am with my sports teams. If the Mets, maybe because the Mets stink, but when the Mets are in the playoffs, I've traveled to New York to be there at the game, or I've actually said to the boss, like, can I broadcast from home that day so I don't miss any during my commute? Like, if you're a fan, there's no way you wouldn't be locked in during a postseason game.
Oh, for sure.
Like,
Hey,
I've seen Covino on his phone at a restaurant during a regular season game. Like, I don't know.
I witnessed Danny G watching a Raiders game at a Rams game. How about that?
See, I don't disagree with that. You know, you went to a Rams game because you probably got a nice opportunity, but you're like, well, I still want to check out.
Yeah, my kid wanted to go. I brought him, but I'm like, I'm watching the whole Raiders game on my phone.
Because you care. Yeah, it's just some people don't care as much. It's as simple as that.
It's casual versus like diehard. It's like you could say the same again about music. There's people that.
And if anyone gives you flack, it's what? Why? Because I care a lot?
Yeah, it's casual fans versus diehards.
Yeah, but
That's
then again,
what it is.
Maybe I shouldn't care so much about the casual fan. Maybe I shouldn't be so hard on him. But there are times where I'm like, man, Dodgers tonight. And I'm just trying to make conversation with like a dad at the school. And he's like, oh, they're playing tonight? I'm like, they're playing tonight. It's the divisional series. What are you like? Like stuff like that will drive me bonkers.
Ooh, yeah. Covino and Rich. And by the way, I want to give some props. I'm not one of those.
What are you, Carrot Top?
Haters. Not those kind of props.
Oh.
I want to give props to the Grandy man, Curtis Granderson. I think he's doing a great job with the postseason coverage. Great analyst. I'm just a fan of what he does for the game as an ambassador. I like Curtis Granderson. I think he's doing a great job.
I think there's something to be said about liking Pedro Martinez and his no filter as well.
Yeah, these guys are doing a really great job with all the coverage.
We downplay sometimes because in basketball and football, Covino, there's a lot of great athletes turned broadcasters, and we love to say, of course, like everyone from John Madden to Aikman and Brady and Greg Olson, a lot of great, and of course NBA. You got Shaq and Charles Barkley and Kenny. In baseball, these guys are bringing it. They're really good. Poppy with Jeter and A-Rod, and I really think that the Grandy man with, Pedro, they're good.
The Grandy man can.
As broadcasters, believe it or not, we are professionals, right? I got to tip my hat. I think they're doing a tremendous job. Great job, Grandy man, and all the baseball coverage we're seeing. Covino and Rich live from the Fox Sports Radio studio. It's time for our Tire Rack play of the day.
Tire Rack.
The Blue Jays found their bats in Seattle. Kirk blew the game wide open.
1-1 pitch. Kirk hits it high and deep right field. Racing back, Robles at the fence, climbs the wall. It is gone. Make it a dozen for the Blue Jays on a 3-run homer from Alejandro Kirk.
You let your kids say suck, by the way?
Yeah.
I bring that up because after that home run, my 5-year-old son turns to me and goes, Dad, the Mariners suck tonight. And I go,
It sounds abrasive from a little kid.
well, I was like, yeah, they do, buddy.
But it's not a curse.
They do.
Yeah. That's courtesy of Blue Jays Radio Network, our Tire Rack play of the day. For over 40 years, Tire Rack has been helping customers find the right tires for how, what, and where they drive. Shipped fast and free, backed by free road hazard protection with convenient installation options like mobile tire installation. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. And look at the clock. We do it every Thursday. Old school, when 50 hits.
There's a certain.
Yeah!
What we gonna do right here is go back. Back into time.
Throwing it back for a Thursday. Old school when 50 hits. At 50 after, CNR give you the time capsule topic, and we reminisce together.
Yeah!
What is that time capsule topic today?
Well, today's October 16th, 2025. And you're on this day, boy. Rich Davis is also a pop radio host on Pop
this
2K.
day, boy.
So he's always giving on this day information and little fun facts and tidbits.
I'll give you one that does nothing to do with this.
And birthday shout-outs.
Today was the day that Walt Disney and his brother Roy decided to open a little cartoon studio, and I think we know how that went.
Well, if you're such a Disney fan, will you show the kids The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Headless Horseman, Ichabod Crane, dude?
I told you.
By the way, not to spoil it, but Brom Bones did it. Brom Bones did it.
You spoiled it.
Watch that
All right,
classic.
I'll watch that with the kids if you watch Little Giants and Mighty Ducks, because you've seen neither, which is a crime.
What am I going to do, watch it by myself?
Ed O'Neill, Rick Moranis.
Next
come on.
time my niece and nephew are over, I'll
Okay,
watch
perfect.
that.
I'll
But-
come over. I'll come over, Covino.
Nice, Sam. All right.
You need a movie buddy?
You can
Well,
make popcorn with Sam.
It's
Yeah.
also National Bosses Day. So
What are you gonna kiss ass?
now it's time to kiss your boss's ass. Hey, thanks, boss.
Man, no one better than Scott and Don.
Scott and Don
Julie
made my
is the
wildest dreams
best.
come true. Yeah, Julie Talbot, the greatest boss I've ever had. So anyway, guys, true story. Fox Sports Radio has been a blessing for Covino and Rich. So we're very happy here, and we do love our bosses.
Hey, kissing ass or not, we really do work for great people because I've worked for people that were not so great. I had a boss when I first started radio that he'd be like, you want extra shifts, right? I'm like, of course. I was a young, hungry kid, fill-ins, overnights, weekends, whenever. You know what earned me those fill-in shifts? If I would cover for him when he cheated on his wife.
Oh, there you go.
I'm not even joking.
There
He'd be
you
like,
go.
my wife calls, I'm with you at the bar. I'm like, okay, boss.
Actually, I think
Your shift came with an alibi.
Yes, no, for real.
I think our experience here is very relatable because you work for a lot of places and they hire you, but then they hire you and try to change what you do, right? Like, yeah, we like you. Now do it our way. And you're like, well, I thought you hired me because you liked me. Now you're telling me to do something else. Here at Fox Sports Radio, they actually did hire us and let us do what we do,
Yeah.
what they hired us for. That's really refreshing. But when you think of bosses,
And surprising.
who do you think comes to mind? Like, I think we have these TV bosses that come to mind, movie bosses that come to mind.
Oh, the
This
number
is-
one boss?
Yeah, who comes up? Big Boss Man?
Lundberg.
Yeah, you know what? He, in fact, is on the graphic for National Bosses Day.
I did that.
I almost
oh,
forgot.
this is BG creation?
Yeah, I made that.
I'm also going to need you to go ahead and come in on Sunday, too.
Wow. He needs those TPS reports.
Yeah.
National Bosses Day, who do you think of? Let's hear some boss stories. Let's think of the best bosses in TV, movies, cartoons. A few cartoon ones come to mind. But this is where we get you involved, Fox Sports Radio Nation, 877-99 on Fox. Let's go.
It's Covino and Rich on Fox Sports Radio. Are you ready?
Yes! We talk about pop culture, we talk about sports, we talk about life.
It's a friendship on the radio. When you talk about the best athlete in the world, you're probably thinking Jim Thorpe, right?
I'm thinking Bo
joking.
Jackson.
I'd have to throw myself at the age of 12 into the conversation.
You are the home run champion. When you find the commonality between sports and life, those analogies and conversations are the best. You were dating some girl, and you were like, hey, babe, let's watch The Sixth Sense. Her mom walked in. Can you believe he was dead the whole time?
I wanted to get up.
Well, slow down, Dana White.
I don't want to say It's never boring.
If the Chiefs win,
Sorry, Patrick Mahomes here. What do you mean by if the Chiefs win? Our friendship is real. It's authentic. You can't fake the fun.
we're the type of guys you'd want to hang out with at a sports bar. Best way to pick someone up at a bar?
Yeah.
Go up to a cute girl and say, oh, look at that bozo over there. And I like point to you. We could make fun of each other, poke each other a little bit.
I call him Blubber Lips, Rich Davis, because he never stops talking.
He thinks he's the Mexican Fonz.
Yeah.
At any point, he's wearing a chain. You have a chain on?
Always.
Of course he has a chain on.
That's like asking me if I'm wearing cologne right now. Of course I am. We take a lot of pride in being inclusive and interactive on our show. Just the more the merrier.
Josh, Covino thinks that every man should own a leather jacket.
I only wear vegan leather.
Can you believe this guy?
I can't believe this guy. We have a very special connection with our audience, our listeners. People feel that friendship.
And I appreciate y'all's show. I love it.
It's all for you. Thank you.
Mike Tyson, Covino.
loves to just challenge us with random Mike Tyson trivia.
Which accomplished celebrity purchased my sprawling Connecticut estate?
I'm going to go 50 Cent.
You are absolutely correct, 50 Cent. I love his song.
You can't schedule a big event during a big sports moment.
My family member scheduled their wedding the same night as a Julio Cesar Chavez fight. Everyone was glued to that fight instead of doing the electric slide.
This is weak.
Unbelievable. You're very tricky.
America, you got sports, you got fun, you got us.
Covino and Rich.
We're crushing it.
Brewers and Dodgers getting underway in Los Angeles in Game 3 of the National League Championship Series. It's Aaron Ashby against Tyler Glasnow. It's the first of 2 baseball postseason games, as Game 4 between the Blue Jays and Mariners in the ALCS is at 8:30 Eastern Time tonight on FS1. Seattle up 2-1 in that best-of-7 series. Yankees outfielder Aaron Judge will not need surgery on his injured elbow this offseason, but shortstop Anthony Volpe likely to miss the start of next season because he had shoulder surgery on his labrum on his left shoulder. Garrett Cole not going to be available for opening day as he still tries to come back from Tommy John surgery. Indiana and head football coach Kurt Cignetti have agreed on a contract extension through 2033. It's the 8-year extension worth $92.8 million, paying him $11.6 million annually. Steelers and Bengals tonight. CeeDee Lamb to play for the Cowboys this Sunday. I'm Dan Beyer.
You a big sports baby or what?
Well, yeah, kind of. I'm still a little salty about the Yankees, but I'm excited for all the games tonight.
For the good of baseball, do you want the Blue Jays to tie it up?
Absolutely. But I still want them to lose. The Blue Jays lose.
Oh, the Blue Jays.
The Blue Jays lose. Tonight you got the battle of, not the battle of the ages, battle of the old ages. Steelers, Bengals. You got Brewers, Dodgers, Blue Jays, Mariners. So you're going to have an action-packed Thursday night. Plus you got Overpromised. That's our bonus show that starts in an hour on YouTube, Covino and Rich, FSR. We be rocking out.
Add one more fun old guy to tonight's docket of great sports. Max Scherzer, we mentioned it before. Probably, I hate to say it, but maybe the last big start of his illustrious career, unless he keeps playing or they move on. This is a big one for Mad Max. So if you're a Max Scherzer fan.
Max Scherzer's 41 for the record. And so is Aaron Rodgers. And Flacco is 40 if you're keeping score at home.
Yeah.
So props to all the old guys. And we say old respectfully.
Yeah.
Old guys on the field, young guys in life. We're Covino and Rich, the youngest in the game. Believe it or not.
Well,
and
perspective's everything.
Yeah. Danny G is here. We got the old guy, Dan Byer, hanging out with us. And, of course, the very old guy. And we got Iowa Sam.
Dan Byer invented fantasy football. People don't realize that. He was,
What up, DB?
Him and Matt Berry were in a back room one day,
I just know that Covino's older than me. That's all that I know. That's all that I know.
That's all that matters.
That is true. All right, so thank you guys very much for hanging out with us. Now, before we talk Shohei Ohtani and more MLB,
Shohei Ohtani.
every Thursday we throw it back and we do something called Old School Win 50 Hits. And super producer Danny G reminded us, sent us a cool meme, that today is National Bosses Day. So that could be in sports, managers, people that come to mind for you. It could be in life, could be your story.
Real life, fiction, it doesn't matter.
It could be ones that just stand out. When you think of boss, you think of who?
Boss Hog.
Yeah.
Boss Tweed.
Do you think of Bruce Springsteen, the boss?
Can I tell you, it's funny you haven't even mentioned it on or off the air yet. In the world of sports, rest in peace, the boss, George Steinbrenner, the most demanding, eye-rolly. I feel like there was a time in our childhood where, depending on the conversation he had, he would hire and fire Billy Martin and Lou Piniella back and forth.
Yeah, you know what? That might be the number one answer on the board when it comes to sports bosses, right? He'd show up with his turtleneck.
Well, Dr. Jerry Buss is a close one up there.
He's a close one, too.
The late Dr. Buss as well.
But Steinbrenner was, he'd fire you. You had to do it his way. He had an expectation. He was very Trump-like in the way he managed his team and the way he commanded respect.
And I always found it funny that Larry David flew out. I heard this on, I believe, Rich Eisen. He flew Steinbrenner out to film the scenes for Seinfeld. Because remember, George Steinbrenner was on Seinfeld. Remember, George! Steinbrenner was just not a good actor, and he had to then break it to Steinbrenner like, I'm not going to use you're on the show, but I'm not going to use your voice. And he was a big part
Larry
of that show.
David, yeah.
Wait, so the back of Steinbrenner's head was actually Steinbrenner?
No, it was Larry David.
I know, it was the voice of Larry David, but they always showed him from behind.
He had come in to do some voice work and stuff for the Steinbrenner role, and Larry's like, he's great at a lot of things. Acting wasn't one of them, which is wild.
Costanza, give me one of them calzones.
National Bosses Day. Got a few stories and a few people that come to mind for me.
Danny G, anyone else in that conversation with Dr. Buss and George Steinbrenner? Is there a trifecta? Is there a third, really polarizing, winning?
Oh,
like
Al Davis.
Oh,
there you go.
Of course, I got to go to you for that one.
Oh,
Al Davis.
yeah. They're even making that movie right now with Madden and Davis.
I mean, it's not professional sports, but it kind of is. Vince McMahon's in there, no? I would say. He has to be in the conversation.
Vince?
I was on the phone. Did you guys say Jerry Jones?
Oh, Jerry!
I heard a lot of raccoon.
By the way, we just named, I think, the list of Jerry Jones, Al Davis, Vince McMahon, George Steinbrenner, and Dr. Buss. That's your top 5 in sports entertainment, right? I mean, it has to be, right?
In the world of cartoons, honestly, because this comes to mind. When you think of bosses, you don't think of Mr. Slate or Mr. Spacely of Spacely Sprockets. Like, you don't think of those guys from Hanna-Barbera?
Jetson!
You're fired!
I think of those guys.
Yeah, oh, of course.
I think of the Hanna-Barbera bosses. You think of how pumped Fred was to get out of work. You think of George Jetson, how his boss is yelling at him all the time.
Hey, Sam, do your best, Mr. Spacely. It's the you're fired with a little.
I really don't know this character very well. I've never done a Mr. Spacely.
Spacely
Let me listen to this one real quick. Yeah.
You're fired!
All right, here we go. I'll give you mine. Right.
Fire!
No, that doesn't sound
so stupid.
Man.
So, cartoons come to mind.
How about
the
the
stories?
big head really quick, Cove? Because Ko has been watching this. He's watched it 3 times, probably the past 2 weeks. Boss Baby.
Oh, great movie.
I've seen that. Yeah,
kids love that. Boss Baby's fantastic.
That is a good one. So I've worked for some demanding people, very demanding people in my career, and a few stories come to mind. one of my first radio bosses, like you said, Rich, you had to do certain things to get that airtime.
Yeah, I told you my old radio boss said, "You want airtime? You're my cover story for when I cheat on my wife." I'm like, as a young man, I'm like, what?
The thing is, we've all done stuff like that,
It-
right?
you-
Today's generation, you can't because they'll like try to sue you or something.
He would say things like, "You could fill in afternoon drive." But Tuesday night, you and I were at the movies and having a drink. I'm like, sure.
That was
I felt bad.
That
but
was before HR departments.
Yeah, before all of that, right?
There were no training videos, nothing
Dude,
like that.
I would do all sorts of personal things and personal errands for my boss. If he needed me to pick up his suits, I would do that. If I
When
needed
your
to go buy
boss-
presents for his kids, I would do that. I remember one time I had to clear out his whole attic because he was moving. So I was his personal mover. Like we did all sorts of stuff like that just to get ahead in life and to get that opportunity.
Yeah.
But there was one time I was working in radio promotions. It's a true story, and it's a legendary story if you followed us for years. It was at Metallica Tattoo the Earth, I think it was a Metallica Tattoo the Earth festival or like an Ozfest sort of show.
Yeah.
And it was a very metal show. And these metal fans didn't like commercial rock radio. They liked all underground college radio, right? And one dude stepped on our promotional vehicle, got up on it, and got everyone cheering. They were shaking the van back and forth. And I'm there, like I'm the station representative. And the guy, how do I say this?
Number 2?
There was a number 2 on our vehicle. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And the boss made me clean it up. Made me clean it up.
Come on.
Yeah.
Poop again.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, not only was I offended, but then I had to do that, humiliated in front of everybody. So I'll never forget it.
Jeez, if he was around nowadays, he'd tell you, "I'm gonna call ICE on you."
Yo, yeah, right?
So can I tell you? You
Milwaukee Karen.
You paid your dues, huh?
Paid my dues. We all did, though. It was a different time. And I know the stories get even worse the further you go back. But bosses in TV and life. I think of Mr. Angelino, I believe was his name, from Jack's Bistro. Remember he used to work for Mr. Angelino, him and Felipe?
He was tough on Jack.
Yeah. I remember he'd come in and start yelling at Jack all the time.
But we mentioned it earlier.
Three's Company.
Lumberg might be your number 1 TV or movie answer.
We have sort of a problem here. Yeah, you apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS reports.
It's funny because that's a cult classic, yet probably the number 1 answer when it comes to bosses in TV and entertainment.
I don't know if I'm just saying this answer because of my sports fandom, but is it general knowledge that before Steve Cohen bought the Mets, the Wilpons were the worst owners, like worst bosses? Like, is that a sentiment that non-New Yorkers know?
Yeah, I think so.
With the money they got caught up in, the schemes and the Bernie Madoff, and didn't want to spend money. Snyder of the Redskins, now Commanders, terrible boss.
By the way, Bill Lumberg from the movie Office Space is played by Gary Cole. And side note, I've seen him at the CVS right across the street from over here, like recently.
Really?
Yeah. If you could just go ahead and make sure you do that from now on, that would be great.
I'm
So
like, there
funny.
he is, Lumberg. I'm in line with Lumberg.
Rich, how about the horrible owner the Dodgers had here in Southern California, Frank McCourt? Remember that? And I think he still owns a piece of the parking lot, and he went through a bad divorce, and that was messy before Magic Johnson and that big group took over.
Did you guys watch the whole Clippers documentary about Donald Sterling?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, let me ask you a question since it's Boss's Day. Is it a total kiss-ass move to buy your boss a gift for, let's say, the holidays or something? Do people still do that?
Yeah.
Or is that just a kind gesture?
Holiday's cool.
Yeah?
I saw a Hallmark pop up
Hey.
for today, though, to get them a boss's National Boss Day gift.
Is that kiss-ass?
I would say that's a little over the top.
But aren't you like the kid that brings the teacher a gift, like the kid that brings her an apple? Like,
no, but the same way I know your guys' favorite team, so I give you gifts based on your teams. I've done that with our boss before. I've given him like Minnesota gear.
I haven't done that in years. Maybe we should, Rich.
Well, I said the boss something. I said from Rich, and then in parentheses, not Covino.
You
so
would do
so when
that.
contract time comes up,
You would do that.
Christmas is cool, but if you're doing more than that, you're probably just
But
trying
you know
to
what?
do too much.
Here's why. There's another true story, Danny G. I had a boss. Rich knows him. This is before you and I worked together, though. But we ended up working for this guy again, Rich and I. And I bought him one of those like pen holders from Things Engraved, or they got Sharper Image. But I had it engraved, and it was like, Boss Man
Hemmicker
so and
Schlemmer?
so. Just like, to put his cool pen in it because he's my boss. I thought it was a cool, thoughtful thing to do. And like the reaction I got wasn't like what I expected.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, never doing that again.
What did you want him to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to be like, oh, that was a great, kind gesture, and give me a hug or something.
The best thing a boss ever
It was
said.
like a deflated feeling. Like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have done that then.
One time when you were on your come up, I remember you saying a boss once said to you, like, I don't pay you to think.
Yeah, he did. One boss said to me, I don't pay you to think. We already have a Howard Stern here. Just read the liners.
Hang up those banners.
Read the liners, buddy. Read the liners.
Yo, I had a radio boss steal from me one time.
What?
Yeah. Now, I know they have an affiliate in their city, too, so I have to be careful. And I've programmed several stations, so it could be any of those cities. But so you guys know, in our business, there's this thing called trade.
Yeah.
Where there's certain companies that the radio station wants to do business with, but instead of money, they trade services. So all of us full-timers, we got an email saying, hey, this awesome auto parts West Coast shop, they're going to hook all the full-time talent up with rims for their cars. You make an appointment, go in, pick your rims. So I'm so excited. I take my car, I pick the rims, and then we had to make an appointment for when I was going to go get them on. Then I got a follow-up email from the boss saying, hey, guys, I'm so sorry. We're not going to finish this trade with this company. And I'm like, dang it, I missed out on my rims. I'm not kidding you. 2 weeks later, he rolls up. His car has my rims that I picked out on his car.
Well, it says it. Danny G. It says here you picked up your rims already.
And I didn't say anything about it, and I just tried to ignore it. But every time I saw his car, it was like a stake through the heart.
Wasn't Dinklage the boss in what movie was that?
Elf.
Elf, right? Yeah, he was the boss in Elf. That comes to mind. So
call me Elf one more time.
Yeah, exactly.
Say
so
Elf one
we're
more
going to go
time.
to your phone calls now. Who comes to mind? Sports, life, entertainment. Do you have any stories you want to share? It's National Bosses Day here on the Covino and Rich Show.
Let's say hi to Willie in Anchorage. What's up, Willie?
Hey, Willie.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's up?
First boss that comes to mind is Michael Scott. Everybody knows that.
Dude, I mean...
No! God, please, no! No!
You know what's crazy, too, is how he got better with age. He really did.
On the morning show, he looks way handsome.
Do you ever see
and
the
in
meme?
season one versus the end, his hairline and everything.
No, it's great. If you watch the early episodes, he was baldo
He was
Ronaldo.
slicking it back.
Yeah.
And then his hairline became more robust.
Yeah, he got the Hollywood
Later
glow
on.
up.
Did
He's
you know that
such a good character, though.
Alice Cooper is Steve Carell's dad? Look it up. Alice Cooper is Steve Carell's dad.
I'm going to look it up.
If you put some eyeliner on Steve Carell, he'd
it
look a
up.
lot like Alice
Wow,
Cooper.
He could be Alice Cooper for Halloween easily.
By the way, the Michael Scott clips, looking back at how politically incorrect and wrong he was for some of those, like I guess you would say, like the seminars and the racial sensitivity. Some of those clips, I don't think would fly today unless it was
Prison
on like a
Mike,
streaming service.
Or when they all out Oscar and he's like, I'm going to kiss him in front of. Remember that? That's one of the funniest moments in The Office's history.
Let's go to Meg in Montana. Hi, Meg.
Hi, Meg.
Hey, guys. How are ya?
We're good. What's up, Meg?
Well, I just couldn't get over the George Steinbrenner talk from Seinfeld. I'm a huge Seinfeld nerd, and I could not help but give you guys a little anecdote.
Yeah.
Lee Bear is the actor that played the physical back of the head of George Steinbrenner. And he did all the yuck, yuck, yuck motions while Larry David was doing the voicing. And
yeah, that makes sense. Meg, you're right, because I was like, that's not Larry David. But
It's
yeah.
not George Steinbrenner's back either. Like, it
No.
doesn't look like he's a little too big, I think.
But I know Larry David and I said Rich Eisen are pals, and I feel like I heard the clip where Larry does say how I wanted to get George involved, but it just didn't work out. It's like that must have been a rough conversation, even for Larry David, but who better at the awkward than Larry David?
Yeah, and thank you for the real sexy, informative phone call. We appreciate that.
Meg, if you are on Love is Blind, I would definitely want to meet you.
Speaking of voiceovers, and you guys have done his voice on the show before, Mr. Burns.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, great one.
Definitely
Smithers.
a good boss reference. All right, who else do we got? Who comes to mind? Who's that quintessential boss that comes to mind on National Bosses Day?
Oh, you know who the hottest boss is that so inappropriate? Jennifer Aniston in Horrible Bosses.
That's a good one. That is a good one.
Remember she's like trying to seduce Charlie Day, and he's just and Bateman, and for that matter, I think everyone, right?
But you know what? Not only does it make you think of those pop culture references, but it makes you think of all the people you worked for. And for what it's worth, even the ones I complain about, I learned a lot from, man.
Yeah.
I really did. And I was like, you know what? Nothing could be as difficult as, like, it felt very much, you ever see the movie Devil Wears Prada?
I have.
That's another good boss.
I worked
Well,
for a guy
good.
a guy that treated me just like that. And you wonder, like, are they pushing you because they're a-holes, or are they pushing you to really, truly bring out the best in you? It's kind of like the movie Whiplash.
Yeah.
I always thought that. You ever see Whiplash with J.K. Simmons? Like, was he the worst guy ever, or was he really trying to bring out the best in, what's that actor's name? Oh, come on. What's his name?
Okay.
Come on, young studly guy. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about.
J.K. Simmons and
Miles
Teller.
There you go. So when I look back at all those bosses, yeah, I did learn a lot from them. One of my bosses had a sign on his desk that said, "It can be done." And no matter what I did, and I came there with a problem, he would point at that thing, and he didn't care what I had to do to get it done. Get it done. And I think those lessons stick with you, and you know, props to them.
Teach us all lessons.
All along the way, yeah.
Being a boss is kind of like having a superpower in a way, because some people just don't know how to handle that responsibility and they abuse it. And we've all had bosses like that. And I think you guys would agree. In general, your life is so much better when you have a good boss.
It is true. And if you want to tie it into sports, because we are Fox Sports Radio, there are some bosses that aren't capable of being the main boss, a la the head coach. There are people that are better defensive coordinators,
right,
hitting coaches, OCs or bench coaches, and you see it. And you were just saying,
it's probably it probably feels lonely at times.
You were using the Devil Wears Prada analogy in Whiplash. There are some bosses, and I talk about this with my wife all the time, as far as teachers and coaches. Kids all respond differently, but you got to figure out what works for you and your kids or employees. Some people need tough love, and some people crumble.
It's true, man.
I notice it when I coach. Like, there are kids that are unfocused, and if I try to be a little tough on them, they listen. But then other kids, if you're tough on them, they just curl into a ball.
It's
you know?
true. They're a boss for a reason, right? They might have the ability and skill set to know what that employee needs to get them motivated. For all I know, this guy saw me as a pampered mama's boy, and he's like, I got to toughen this kid up if he wants to make it.
Well, look who's no longer batting 140. Shohei Ohtani with a leadoff triple in the bottom of the first inning.
Oh, wow. Now he's batting a whopping, 165?
Don't be jealous.
Was that boss the same guy that said that don't use your brain? Or is it just a different boss?
Yeah, it actually was.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't like that as advice. Don't use your brain. I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, just follow orders. Just do what I tell you to do.
Don't pay you to think. Yeah, just
don't
do.
pay you to think. Yeah. Was it the same guy?
Same guy.
Yeah,
All
right. Well, you know, I don't know.
Some radio tyrants out there. But you learn your lessons, man. You move on.
Joe Torre, right? Look at a Joe Torre who was so dominant as the Yankees skipper, but everywhere else, he was not good, right?
True.
And Joe Torre was the most chill, laid-back type of guy. Compare that to other managers you've seen, like in your Yankee fandom, like a Piniella or a Billy Martin, or everyone's different.
It's true.
And respond differently. By the way, I don't want to take Dan Byers' thunder, but Dodgers up 1-0. Mookie Betts just hit a gapper. So back-to-back hits to start the bottom of the first. And Mookie Betts does an exaggerated dance at second.
He's really rubbing it in.
He didn't even do the hip flex. He did like a whole number. He was like
No, you need the, and again, back to sports. You know, Dave Roberts, he gets a lot of criticism, but he might be
steady,
the right guy for those characters, you know, and he proved he was last year and maybe this year. We'll see.
You could argue that's why Rex Ryan hasn't got a gig since, because maybe his style is like, no, I know these young kids are not going to respond to you.
When I say boss, who do you think of? Seriously. Because then what if I said, hello, boss? You think of Baba Booey and Howard Stern?
Yeah, Baba Booey and hi, boss.
Hey, speaking of Howard Stern, I worked at the same radio station as him.
Yeah.
True story. Our main boss said to me one time that I did such a great job that I was gonna get a bonus. And people who follow that show know who I'm talking about. So I was so pumped because I was a young man on the come up, and I was like, I'm getting a bonus. So telling all my friends I'm getting a bonus. The boss said I'm getting a bonus.
Was it pig vomit?
No, but along the same lines, right? Along the same
After
lines.
the guy who took over.
Yeah. And I got my bonus in Princeton Ski Shop gift certificates. And it was like, here's
Happy holidays.
I got an envelope. I was like, oh, cash. I got and it was like $3 $10 gift certificates.
If that's the case, then Clark Griswold's
Yes.
boss for giving him the Jelly of the Month club.
Yes.
That's
he
a
needed
true
a bonus
story.
for his pool.
And then, but you know the humiliation, like my girlfriend at the time, my parents, like, did you get your bonus? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah,
I got my bonus.
Here's some snow pants. Jason in Maryland. What's up, Jason? Let's go rapid fire. Let's go. What's up, Jason?
What's going on, fellas?
Hey.
So I'm going to take it back to the 90s. I used to be terrified. The youngin' name was B.P. Richfield, the boss from the dinosaur Muppet joint that used to come on back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the boss is always portrayed as a scary, angry person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Our buddy Stu in Vegas. What's up, Stu?
What we doing?
What's up?
I'm old, so I'm going to go Lou Grant. And my wife I used to work for a football team, and my boss told me one day he wanted to do the world's largest condom pull at halftime. And he said, find me someone to make a 50-foot condom.
It can be done.
It can be done.
Yeah. Promotional idea. That
Lou Grant, by the way, Mary Tyler Moore show.
Was he Judge
Oh,
Smails?
no, Dan Byer would know that. Dan, do you know that?
No, wait, who am I thinking of?
We're talking old TV. Maybe Dan Byer.
You're talking Lou Grant?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said Lou Graham.
Yeah.
But sorry, I had the
Ed
baseball
Asner.
game in one
Ed
of my,
Asner.
Yeah,
in
no,
my
I got you.
ears. My bad.
I was thinking of Ted Knight.
Let's go to Matt and Penn. What's up, Matt?
Hey, guys. Well, the boss I was thinking of was just taking Lou Grant, but I guess that dates me as being an old fart. I'm just going to leave it with this. Jim Carrey just signed on to play George Jetson. George Jetson
Is that true? By the way, is that true or just a dumb thing I saw? Because I thought the same thing, but I
have a
don't
theory,
believe
too.
anything
I
anymore.
saw it on a reputable website.
I've seen this everywhere, and I think that's a great casting. But I have a theory that if you're a white guy, a lot of your dads look like George Jetson. Like
Yeah.
Rich's dad. If they should cast Rich's dad as George Jetson, and he would be perfect.
No doubt. All right, Doug.
Oh, my boy Elroy.
Wrap it up.
You're late again.
Wrap it up in Rochester. Hey, Doug.
Hey, guys. Glenn Gary, Glenn Ross, Alec Baldwin. Oh, my God.
Great movie. Great pick.
Nice. All right, well, hey, we're going to take the rest of your feedback next. We'll go to Dan Byer for an update. We'll talk a little Shohei, and it's all here, right here on Fox Sports Radio. Hang tight.
There's modern forms of cheating, according to AI. And I didn't show you this because I wanted to know from you, Rich Davis, the righteous dude that you are, if you think these things are cheating, because young people today consider this stuff cheating.
Yeah, every generation considers different things crossing the line. I feel like I remember our parents would say things like, well, you're not married. So, like, I remember your mom would tell you, like, date whoever you want, Steven. You're not married.
Leave my mom out of this. She's a good woman.
Mom did say that.
But the thing is, it's a sliding scale, right? Like, yeah, you had to encounter some sort of physical touch or something to be considered cheating
then
back
the
in the
internet
day.
came around.
And
And
emotional cheating and sliding into DMs. So this is what young people consider cheating today. What are your thoughts? Is it cheating? Flirting over text, DM, or social media?
flirt. I mean, it's. I don't think it's breakup worthy. It's like, what are you doing worthy?
I think it's
cheating.
inappropriate,
Yeah, I think it's
right?
Cheating? No, inappropriate. Yes. Let's make a distinction. Inappropriate, of course.
Yeah.
Cheating? No, I don't.
Yeah, to you, but a young person, cheating.
Flirting?
So keep this in mind. Young people consider this cheating. All right. Following or liking thirst traps, photos meant to attract sexually.
I don't think that's cheating. I think it's sad on a guy. Like if you're liking like some hot girl's photos constantly on Instagram and fire emoji, like you're a weenie. But I don't think it's cheating. It's not cheating. It just makes you sort of like thirsty and lame.
Isn't the equivalent of like beeping at a hot chick and just driving by?
Yeah.
Really not getting anything out of it. Sliding into DMs, especially with flirtatious intent.
Again, mild cheating, but to me, physical touch is cheating. That's just like dumb behavior. That's, inappropriate.
Using dating apps while in a relationship.
Yes, that is
even
cheating.
browsing. I agree. This is the worst one so far.
I think so far this is the worst one because if you are on Hinge or Tinder or Bumble or any of the Field, if you're on any of the apps our video guy Spot talks about, then you're up to no good.
Yeah.
There's no reason. Like
There's no reason for that.
Liking someone's Instagram post could be innocent.
I agree.
When you're on a dating site, what's the intention?
Sexting or sending explicit photos to others. Junk shots and sexy shots.
All right, now we're getting this.
Absolutely. Having backup or emotional side pieces, someone you're keeping warm just in case. Like having a backup.
If you don't vocalize it and you just know it in the back of your head, is that cheating? Like she's on standby, but you're not doing anything?
Well, put it this way. All of this is considered cheating in today's
cool.
world, but there's something else called a gray area. All right.
Oh, gray
And we're
one.
not talking about your Paulie Walnuts hairdo you got going on.
I'm getting
Yeah.
older. We're all getting older.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. So the gray area, watching porn. Some couples are fine with it, some aren't. Cheating or not.
If you think watching porn is cheating, you are a bird brain.
But again, to a young person, it depends on what boundaries are set, okay? So Rich, consider Rich the most cheating guy I know.
Ridiculous. Okay, go on.
You know what team Rich plays for? Team Skeet. That's what he plays
get
for.
outta here.
That's his favorite team.
It's funny.
Yeah. He's 49ers, Mets, and Skeet. Clubbing, flirting for fun. What do you think? Gray area.
A gray area, because I think if you just fucking talk to someone at a bar, is that cheating? No, but if it's like, hey, by the way, what's your number just in case? Yes, cheating.
Maintaining close friendships with exes.
Dangerous territory. I wouldn't recommend it, but
Yeah,
I don't
what's
think
the point?
yeah, but I don't think it's cheating if you're open about like, hey, I dated a girl 20 years ago in college and I like her family photos on Facebook.
That's fine if there's no intent there.
Yeah.
Wish them well and
the
all
younger
that.
man's thing, I think.
Keeping secrets. Ooh. Women always say omitting is lying. What about keeping secrets? Being intentionally vague about interactions with others. Gray area here. Is that cheating or not?
Just living life.
Micro cheating. Small acts of secrecy, flirtation, or emotional intimacy that hint at more. These are gray areas, but what young people consider cheating. So be careful, guys. It's Covino and Rich on Fox Sports Radio, and if you're a hard and heavy classic rock fan, a Kiss fan, I got sad news. Space Ace Frehley, passed away at 74. Cause of death uncertain right now. But I did see earlier in the week that he had some injuries that led to like a brain bleeding or something like that. But 74 years old, rock legend, Ace Frehley.
Diane Keaton, D'Angelo, and now him.
Yeah. So we rock out on his behalf. One of Rich's favorite songs. You know, he was actually from New York. I think he was living in Morristown, New Jersey. But he was from the Bronx. And it's a song you hear a lot in the Queens. So.
Now, this is a song they played for years every time the Mets would win a game.
Yeah.
And every time the Giants score a touchdown.
We're live from the Fox Sports Radio studio. For over 40 years, Tire Rack has been helping customers find the right tires for how, what, and where they drive. Ship fast and free, backed by free road hazard protection with convenient installation options like mobile tire installation. Tire Rack. TireRack.com, the way tire buying should be. Speaking of Ace Frehley, Space Ace, right? You know, it is spooky season, ghost season, postseason. As a kid, there was nothing cooler to me as a little boy seeing all like the teenage burnouts of the 80s dressed up as Kiss for Halloween. That was always the coolest thing when you were a kid of the 80s. Whew. So rest in peace. And if you have any other thoughts on bosses,
well,
hit us up at Covino and Rich, at Fox Sports Radio. And two reminders, Rich. Yesterday, we filled in for Dan Patrick, so if you missed the show, catch it on the podcast, our Best of Dan Patrick. And thanks again to DB for filling in and doing his thing. And overpromised. I can already tell you what we're going to talk about in a half hour from now, live on our YouTube channel, Covino and Rich FSR. The worst things to happen to you in your 40s. Like the worst part of being in your 40s, aside from death and health issues.
Yeah.
Because tonight, it's not the battle of the ages, it's the battle of the old ages. Aaron Rodgers, Joey Flacco. So we're going to talk about things you notice in your 40s. Who might be ass? We're going to add someone to the list, and we're going to talk about some Halloween costumes on Overpromised, episode 113. Again, in a half hour on Covino and Rich FSR YouTube, so join us.
Well, he's got an RBI. Well, not an RBI. He's got a leadoff triple, and he scored the run so far for the Dodgers, Shohei Ohtani. There's a sentiment that has to do with Shohei that we'll get to right after Chris's call. He wanted to wrap up our boss conversation. What's up, Washington State, Chris?
Oh, hey, man, I just wanted to get music in play and mention Suge Knight, Death Row.
Oh, that's a good one, yeah.
Talk about intimidating.
Yeah, intimidating boss for sure. And that's usually how they're portrayed in movies and TV. And we shout out the bosses.
What about Tony Soprano?
Yeah, he was the boss. Yeah, he was the boss. He was the
boss.
Don. So
right.
Thank you guys. Now, you say there's sentiment around Shohei Ohtani. I say there's just straight up stats that prove when it comes to postseason, he's kind of cheeks, but he gets away with it. And I know there's plenty of reasons as to why, but the stats don't lie. 200 lifetime, not counting today. He was batting 147 leading into today's postseason game. Hasn't really come through that clutch that big for your Dodgers, but I think it all goes back to one thing that we tend to forget. Shohei did something that no one had ever done before. He deferred his payments, $2 million a year, which allowed the Dodgers to get the other players to back him up, and they've been coming through. So when your team around you delivers and they're not relying just on Shohei and one person to come through, yeah, he gets away with it. And they wouldn't have those players if it wasn't for that move he made, taking less money at the time.
Well, I heard Colin say this the other day, and I think these Dodger teams aren't winning just because they have the high payroll and big stars. Yes, pitching has shown that so far. You got Blake Snell in free agency. You had the money to sign Yamamoto, and you knew he wanted to come play with Shohei, which, by the way, shows his worth in another way, right? Other Japanese stars wanted to play with Shohei. But it's guys like Tommy Edman. It's guys that were on other teams that anyone could have had. Remember we talked about how anyone in the NFL could have had Baker Mayfield if they really wanted? Anyone could have had Tommy Edman. Anyone could have had Teoscar Hernandez. These are guys that went to
Snell was up for grabs.
Went to the Dodgers.
He was expensive, but still.
But I'm saying those guys.
Don't forget Muncy is from the scrap heaps.
Muncy was trash. Barsora. No one wanted Max Muncy. These are guys that went to the Dodgers and fit in with the stars and have become big postseason players. And much like that school project, Covino, we've talked about how you might not be the person that contributes, but if you get an A, everyone gets an A. Not just the person that does the best. And the Dodgers are defending world champs. Shohei may have not have had the numbers, but you know what? He's part of that squad, and if you win, it gets forgotten.
That's the thing.
And there are moments.
It's not necessarily fair, though, because what was the biggest criticism for Aaron Judge? That he wasn't coming through in the postseason.
Well, Covino,
he's a ghost in the postseason. Where's his big moment? Why not at least a little bit of that narrative for Shohei Ohtani if he's the biggest international star in the game?
We've been hearing it the past couple of weeks. Rob Parker's been screaming about it for over a week now.
I'm
so
glad
it's
Rob
starting.
Parker has.
It's starting to heat up.
147? That's pathetic.
But he's pitching. He's contributing in other ways.
And Covino, besides that, if you win, this is all forgotten. If the Yankees had won a World Series while Aaron Judge batted, 208 in the postseason, it wouldn't have been a big deal. There have been plenty of teams where the star player, poops the bed in the postseason and no one really seems to care because the team wins. The Dodgers are winning, and there are moments where even though he's not contributing, his pure presence is felt. Meaning the other night,
you could say that about Aaron Judge.
No, the other night
he caught just as much flack. You don't think they weren't pitching around Aaron Judge?
Particularly,
it's just that other people weren't backing him up.
The other night, Mookie Betts got walked with the bases juiced. Why were the bases juiced? Because they did not want to pitch to Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah, and that same stuff applied to Aaron Judge. It's just we see two different narratives. I'm actually tipping my hat to the fact that that Shohei was able to surround himself with greater players because of that deferred move he made as far as money. Because you would not have those players, they would not be able to afford all these players if it wasn't for that move of taking. Well, it was $2 million a year, right? Taking that $2 million a year.
There are no Dodgers on the top 10 for highest paid salaries for next season. It's crazy. The list is Soto, Wheeler, Guerrero Jr., Judge, Bregman, Rendon, DeGrom, Trout, Cole, Gray. Those are the top salaries for next season.
You could also say it's the way that Shohei carries himself, too. He's just not an easy target like that. He's a really likable guy, and you know how great he is, so you really don't want to – it doesn't matter when he bats 147, but the stats don't lie.
They don't lie, but like Rich said, there's a lot of forgiveness given after you get that ring because Aaron Judge could literally flip off all those critics with a big ring on his finger if he had won one.
Yeah, and by the way, Bowers tying the game. And, in fact, let's go to DB, who's probably happy about this.
Go ahead, Rich.
What's
Take
up,
it away.
Dan
Let's hear it.
Hey, thanks, guys. Dan Byer here. What's up, DB?
Hey, Dan.
Jake Bauer's RBI single scored Caleb Durbin, who had a triple. Kike Hernandez probably shouldn't have dove for the ball in left field. Got the Brewers an extra base, but now they've even the score at one apiece right now.
It wasn't close,
in
that
the top
dive.
of the second.
It's like if you feel like you have a possible, jump on the ball is one thing. He just laid out and the ball bounced 5 feet in front of him.
Yeah. Misjudged it for sure. Dodgers got the 1-0 lead on the Mookie Betts RBI double that scored Shohei Ohtani, but the Brewers answer back in the top of the second. That's where they play now at Dodger Stadium. Brewers and Dodgers tied up at 1 in the second inning. Dodgers up 2-0 in the best of 7 series. That Brewers fan caught on video saying call ice towards a Dodgers fan during Game 2 in Milwaukee. Well, she has been banned from American Family Field in Milwaukee by the Brewers. That's according to TMZ. Blue Jays and Mariners, 8:30 Eastern Time. That's on FS1. Game 4 of the ALCS is the Mariners are home in Seattle, up 2-1 in the series. Max Scherzer against Luis Castillo. Yankee skipper Aaron Boone says that Anthony Volpe and Garrett Cole likely won't be ready for the start of the season. Same with Carlos Rodon. As for Aaron Judge, the outfielder will not need surgery on his injured elbow. Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb says he'll play against the Commanders on Sunday, while Niners tight end George Kittle says he'll return from his Week 1 hamstring strain to face the Falcons on Sunday Night Football. Notable players to not practice today include Rams wide receiver Puka Nacua, Commanders wide receiver Terry McLaurin, and Bucs wide receiver Emeka Ibuka. Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray limited in practice because of a foot injury. And in college football, Indiana has given head football coach Kurt Cignetti an 8-year extension worth $11.6 million. Cignetti now the third highest paid coach in college football and had this to say after his deal.
My wife Manette and I love Indiana University, Bloomington, the state of Indiana, the people we've met. We have very strong feelings about President Whitten and Scott Dolson. And, we've accomplished a lot here in a short amount of time, but still have a lot of work to do.
Third-ranked team in the country right now. And Cignetti only paid less than Ryan Day of Ohio State and Kirby Smart at Georgia. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, DB. And DB,
I would love
question.
Indiana too, by the way. If I got paid that much, I would say very nice things about Indiana.
Indiana Rich. So, DB, do you think that Shohei Ohtani avoids the criticism here because they're winning? Because think of the criticism Aaron Judge was getting. Dude ended up batting 500 in the postseason, and you would have thought he was the reason they lost based on the press and the coverage and criticism he got. Shohei was batting 147 heading into today's game this postseason.
So Shohei's not criticized because the Dodgers have been good in the postseason.
It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
So you can't and if that's the truth then, right? Get off Judge's huevos and realize it was the team. Had nothing to do with him. He didn't have the backup that Shohei has.
Well, shout out to Max Muncy, because another great postseason play. Infield was in, runner at third, and Max Muncy made a nice little sliding catch at third, spun around and threw a strike to home to get the runner on a tag play. Obviously not a force, and that is a underestimated play right there. That's great execution by the Dodgers, keeping it 1-1.
All right. So we got more Covino and Rich. Spooky season, postseason, ghost season here on Fox Sports Radio.
One of those nights where my family was just all in the living room, chilling out. We let our kids stay up a little later because they were sort of watching the football game and sort of learning the game a little bit more last night. They both seemed sort of locked in, Cowboys, Packers. My wife's family, Packers fans. So they're watching, and I'm explaining, like, see the yellow line? That's a first down. They get 4 chances to get 10 yards. I'm like doing the dad instructional. And of all games, I'm trying to teach them about the rules. It's a damn tie. And then I had to think to myself, well, do I have any real feelings about a tie? And I think I'm going to defend the tie today. I'm going to defend the bolo tie because I think it's a cool look. Remember Phillip Rivers would rock the bolo tie? I'm going to defend the tie in football because I think what it does to the standings is awesome. Because at the end of the year, if you're OCD about seeing what team is where, now the Packers are probably going to be like 11-5-1, 10-6-1, the 12-4. Yeah, that one is going to really mess up that North. But do you think there's something really crappy about two teams battling 4 quarters plus overtime, and it's 40-40, and they both walk away like, eh?
Yeah, I didn't like it.
How do you fix it, though? We talked about this for years. And my solution is simple. Dan Beyer, add 5 minutes.
Yes.
Each team got the ball, and it seems like each team with the legit possession equals about 10 minutes. If you had 5 more minutes left in that overtime period, just make it another quarter, 15 minutes. I think someone urgently moves the ball down the field and at least tries a winning field goal. I think 10 minutes is just designed for a tie in a weird way.
It 100% is. And previously, I think they were just trying to get the game over with.
Yeah.
On the first score that wins the game. And then you do the thing where you're like, okay, well, now it's got to be both teams have first touchdown wins the game. So if you kick a field goal, that lent it to, all right, we're gonna have more ties, because they did. There were multiple ties in previous seasons under the old rule of field goal does not win it for you. touchdown wins it for you. There were more ties. Now with this, they never changed the period length. Adding 5 more minutes to the quarter would be a huge, huge difference because it just doesn't make any sense to have it this way when if you are going to have a field goal drive, it's probably going to be about 4 to 5 minutes, especially, too, if one of the teams is always going for it on 4th down if they need to because they have to tie the game because they're trailing at that point.
And like you said, the length of a drive in that situation is about 4 to 5 minutes. Do that 2 times, you match field goals. It's a tie. My team hasn't tied in a long time. I would love to hear from a Packers fan or a Cowboys fan. How are you feeling today? Is it like because you're not, your football team does determine your mood. I'm a little sour today. My Mets lost and the Niners lost. So today I woke up and I'm like, yeah, sort of feel a little like ass. If your team ties, do you feel good about that? Like after the game, even when the players were bro hugging and the coaches were shaking hands, it almost feels like an odd, like, when you're at a blackjack table and you're like, sweet, I got a 20, and the dealer flips a 20 and you're like, oh.
Well, it was better for Packers fans than running out of time there at the end with that pass that went out of bounds.
No,
because that would have been a disaster.
They're so lucky that ball immediately went down.
The 1 second to go. I just think ties happen so infrequent. Like was a couple years ago we had like 2 or 3 in a season, but I think you just sort of move on and deal with it because they happen infrequently enough that most of the time you do have a winner and a loser. But it happens, and it is a weird feeling. It's like you have to tell your kids this one like thing that happens that doesn't happen very often, but you have to explain it, and you're like, well, it's like not a win or a loss. It's a tie. It's a draw.
I don't know. I mean, I like it because, again, I feel like it's at the end of the season, it's always fun because it messes up your playoff positions and standings and rankings. Just for all you know, towards the end of the year, the Lions and Packers, they might be battling, and it's like, ooh, that half a game is either going to work for or against the Packers. So you're right, better than a loss, but do we think ties stink?
Rock and peace, Ace Frehley. Covino and Rich live from the Fox Sports Radio studio. Business fluctuations make running your manufacturing business complex, but staffing your business doesn't have to be. Let Express Employment Pros provide the workforce you need. Go to expresspros.com, find a location near you. That's expresspros.com. Again, we're Covino and Rich at Covino and Rich at Fox Sports Radio. New episode of Overpromised in 10 minutes. We're going to talk about the worst things that happen in your 40s because tonight is the battle of the 40-year-old quarterbacks, 41 for Aaron Rodgers. A new They Might Be Ass, and we talk some Halloween on Overpromised. We do it live in 10 minutes again on YouTube. Join the live chat and check us out, Covino and Rich FSR. And tomorrow, Rich's big TV game of the week, our fun new game, Brainwave, giving away some prizes, and we get you ready for the weekend with Weekend Hobnobbing right here on Covino and Rich. And, Rich, you still got to give us your Thursday night picks, but real quick, quick, I got to say that we learned this last year. What the Dodgers did with Shohei Ohtani worked, but we're noticing it in a different way this year when you see that he's batting 147 minus the triple he hit tonight this entire postseason, and the money they were able to use by him deferring his payments is working as they distribute it elsewhere to get other players to pick him up. So the Dodgers have a solid team, and what they did with Shohei Ohtani works.
I agree, but don't.
Because he gets no criticism.
I agree, but don't, because there's no salary cap in baseball. So it's not like he's pulling the Tom Brady where it's like, spend the money elsewhere. There's unlimited spending for the Dodgers, Yankees,
they were
Mets,
able to
Phillies.
Use so much that money in such a better way instead of paying him a crazy amount of money.
I get what you're saying. You don't want to avoid luxury taxes and all these other things, but there's no salary cap, so I don't think Shohei is being the most like, oh my God, team guy. You get as most money as you can in baseball. I just think that the Dodgers are covering for Shohei when he doesn't deliver.
Covering with the players that they were able to get because of that money
but
he
it's guys,
didn't get.
I said it's guys like that would be like Judge being covered by a guy like Volpe or Austin Wells or one of these guys actually playing well, where Tommy Edman
and in that case, the criticism should have never been on Judge then, because he batted over 500. Shohei 147. Seriously, put that in perspective. Think of the criticism Judge got. He batted 500 and carried that team. Shohei gets no criticism. He's batting 147.
No one's criticizing Judge anymore. You're making as much sense as Joe on Love is Blind right now.
Sure about that?
You watch Love is Blind, Muncie?
Sure about that?
That guy Joe is the biggest
Is Rich
knucklehead.
sure about that, or did he really just want to shoehorn that comment into this conversation?
So I was half listening to you guys because I'm prepping to anchor, but
He wanted to talk about Love is Blind.
yeah, but Joe says some crazy things.
He's the dumbest guy I've ever seen.
Him
and that girl with him and the woman that owns a hair salon who has the worst hair.
Okay, I wasn't gonna say that, but it's facts. He's not wrong, you guys. I'm all caught up.
I'm glad we all are on the same page that there's so many great sports, but when that's done and you're laying in bed, we're watching Love is Blind.
Yeah, we can all agree on that.
All right, fair enough.
We can all agree on that.
All right. Well, hey, tonight, here's the bet you're going to make. I'm going to win you some more money. We finally lost and we jinxed ourselves. What are we, 9-1 now on Thursday and Monday night teaser bets?
Yeah, you thought about your pick too hard last week.
I did. All right, well, here's what we're going to do tonight. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to continue to show the National Football League that, we were all wrong, and he's still got enough juice, and that team is good around him, and everyone else stinks. The Steelers have somehow found a way to keep that team together. They are 4-1, right? Coming off a bye, and you got Aaron Rodgers. They're 6-point favorites. Tease that down to nothing. Nothing! Meaning you just need the Steelers to beat Flacco and the Bengals. Nothing easy breezy. Here's why I don't want
nothing.
I don't want to overthink it. The over-under is 44.5. You could say, go down to 38.5 and pick the over. I'm not going to do that, though. This could be low scoring. I'm going to go under 50.5. Under 50.5, and Pittsburgh Steelers just win. That's your teaser. So under 50.5, I'm thinking 24-10, 24-17 still wins that bet. Steelers and the under in a teaser. There you go.
It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Fun to watch the old guys do their thing tonight.
Yeah, and I'd like to see Blue Jays tie this bad boy up tonight. And Danny, no offense to you, because my kids now love the Dodgers. It would be nice to make this a series. Do you really want to sweep and sit around for a week? Come on. Is that any fun?
Danny would.
He
Enjoy
would.
your games tonight, guys.
Stop giving me extra anxiety.
Yeah. I know. We'll see you guys later. Arrivederci, baby.
See you in the overpromised land. Let's
Goodbye.
go.